Hey guys, what's up? So today we're taking the E30 over to Jack's Fab Shop so we can get the downpipe made and a couple other little things while they have it in their hands. I've been chatting with Justin, the owner over there, for a little while now, and if you didn't see the last video, they are one of our new sponsors for the 2022 season. So I'm super pumped about that. He's a good guy, he does amazing work, so we'll head on over there and check it out. Okay, so I'm here at Jack's Fab Shop. Justin and I have gone over a few different designs. We talked about just running a standard downpipe coming right off the turbo, go right along the valve cover and dropping down to the floor, which would be sweet. No matter what route we go, we can't get too close to the valve cover. We don't want to risk melting any wires or the valve cover itself. And plus, I think we both agree we want to do something that's going to add some more character to the car. So we're going to come right off the 4-bolt flange at an upwards angle to get away from the valve cover. We're going to level out, and then we're going to 90 up and out the hood. So we're going to do a hood dump on here. I think it'll be pretty sweet. Both of us are excited about it. It'll add some character to the car. So I'll stop talking, and I'll just throw in some clips of him making it happen.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it's fine, dude. It was just fun.
Burn it in!
Alright, so we just left Jack's Fab Shop. We're in my trailer. I tried to keep the camera out of his face. He didn't mind at all, but I didn't want to bug him with it while he was working. And the downpipe came out great. He does quick work. I told him just to whip up something nice and simple. I didn't want to take up too much of his time. Tons of clearance from the valve cover, so I don't have to worry about anything melting. Super happy with it. Now everything's pretty much done. The only big thing we have left is to install the ECU, which is what we're going to be doing in this video. Now the ECU I'm going to be running is a VEMS unit. It is a true plug and play for an M52 engine and allows you to stay OBD2 as well, which is what I really wanted. You do have the option if you want to run a big name ECU like a Link or a Haltech or ECU Masters, you can convert to OBD1 and run it that way, but I really wanted to just use what I have. I'm trying to make this as simple and reliable as possible, and these VEMS units have a lot of support these days and people seem to be having really good luck with them, so we're going to be using it as well. Now everything that comes with the kit is the ECU and all the cables and wires attached to it, as well as the stock plug for the M52 harness. You have the harness for the built-in wideband. You have the IAT harness that comes with a new air temp sensor they provide you. You need to weld the bung for that into the intercooler piping, which I already had the guys at Jack's Fab Shop do for me. A map sensor, the wideband itself, and they provide you with a couple pages of instructions and some mounting hardware for the ECU. Now the ECU itself seems very nice quality. It feels extremely durable, like I could run this thing over and it would be fine. It comes with an EGT sensor plug that is optional. You have a serial cable to hook up to the laptop. You have a harness that goes to the map sensor as well as an additional plug for extra outputs. And you have a harness for the wideband as well. Now before we go ahead and start installing everything, I want to make some kind of mount to attach everything to so we can have it nice and tight and organized up under the dash. So what we're going to use is a baking sheet. Now this may seem kind of odd. This was $2 from the dollar store. Don't ask me how I thought about doing this, but this fits like a glove up under the dash right where the HVAC used to be. So I may or may not trim some of this up. It's very sturdy. It's only $2, and we're going to use this to mount the ECU and all of the plugs to. So I already went ahead and popped a couple holes to get the ECU where I want it. So we're going to mount this here, and we're going to start mapping out some of the cables and seeing how we want to route them. We'll mount this extra port sideways like this. We need to take this one down and out like that. So here we have everything finished. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Something to note is that you want this map sensor facing down just to prevent condensation from building inside the unit itself. But everything's done on here. I'm happy with how it looks. Let's get it mounted up in the car. But in order to do that, we need to pull the dashboard out so we can have some room. Okay, so you can see this fits in here like a glove. I can move it left and right slightly, up and down. It's pretty solid, so I can just put some riv nuts here along the top and along the bottom, and we'll leave this mounted right here. Okay, so the ECU is mounted up to the chassis. You'd probably never know it was a pan unless I said something, but it fits pretty good. I'm happy with it. And we'll plug in the ECU. We drilled our hole, we'll put in a grommet and feed our 3/16 vacuum line for the map sensor. And we will plug it in to the vacuum port that we added on the manifold. And we'll cut it and plug this end into the map sensor. Now before we throw the dash back in, I'm going to feed the loom for the wideband behind this panel here. Now that we installed the map sensor, the next thing on here is the Iat sensor. Now we'll take the OEM plug on the M52 harness, run the adapter harness that it came with into the new intake air temp sensor that I have in the intercooler. So this is the harness adapter that came with the VEMS. And the other end will plug into our new sensor. So next it tells you to unplug the factory MAF sensor, which we have unplugged and wrapped up under the intake manifold, and also unplug the factory cam sensor. Okay, the dash is back in, everything's installed. The next thing it says to do on here is to plug in the ECU, turn on the ignition, and connect to the ECU with VEMS Tune through the serial cable. Now VEMS Tune is their program that they use, so you can read all the information inside the ECU, which I already have downloaded to my laptop. So we'll hook up a serial cable up off of the port right here, and we'll connect to the laptop. Okay, so I have the battery connected. We're going to turn on power. It's hot as hell in here, so ignore the fan, please. Idle control valve is vibrating. So power is on, everything's good. Next thing we'll do is connect the laptop to the ECU. Okay, so the ignition's on, I have the ECU plugged in. We'll open VEMS, searching, and it connected right away. So now the first thing we want to do is calibrate the TPS sensor. So we will go up to Tools. We'll go to TPS Calibration. To calibrate the TPS, it says set the TPS 0 to 0. And 100 to 255, which it's already set at. Press the throttle to the max position and check the TPS ADC gauge value, which is 204. Release the throttle to minimum position and check the value, 29. Set the 100% throttle position to the value, which is 204, and there it is, 0, 255. And then we will hit burn. Okay, so throttle position 0, 100. Now the next thing we need to do is calibrate the wideband. And it wants you to do this in the open air, so I will not install this into the exhaust yet. I'm just going to feed the harness through the firewall and leave the sensor out and exposed. Okay, now to calibrate the wideband, we go to Tools, we go to Wideband Calibration. Here it says Start Calibration, which I just did. We want the value to be at 20.9. Right now it's bouncing around at 20.9 and 21. Says it's calibrated. Now if it's not right, you can just move these values right here up or down to get it where you want it. Right now it's bouncing steady between 20.9 and 21. Okay, we'll then burn that to the ECU. Now the wideband is calibrated. Okay, so I have the wideband installed. I took off the oil feed line and put it into the filler cap just so I know when I get oil to the line itself. So now we'll just go ahead and crank it, build up some oil pressure. My oil pressure gauge just did something crazy. Alright guys, I apologize for just abruptly stopping the video right here. I've been losing a ton of footage lately. My SD cards keep crashing, all the ones that I have, and I just have to save what's on them. So I miss out on a lot of footage. It happens every couple videos. I'm sure it's something stupid, but if you know, please let me know so it doesn't happen anymore. But anyways, the last clip you saw, the oil pressure gauge just kind of go crazy. I have two prongs on my oil sending unit on the oil filter housing. One is for the gauge itself, and the other is for a warning light. So I just had them switched, so it just kept the oil pressure gauge just set at max. So everything's fine. I ended up cranking the car for about 15-20 seconds. I didn't really build oil pressure, but I did get oil to come out of the feed line. So I plugged that back into the turbo, and that's pretty much it. This is where we're going to end this video. All I have left to do is install the fuel pump relay and get some E85 and see if she'll fire up. So I'm super excited. I hope you guys are too. And like always, I appreciate you guys watching these videos. It means a lot. And stay tuned for the next one because it's going to be exciting. See ya.